And we've got plenty of other things to look forward to
We
in the back half of
have.
this year as well. So let's
We've actually got quite
let's talk about some of them.
busy second half of the year, really.
Really busy September, October especially.
Yeah, quite a bit in December, actually.
Yeah. So of course, as we've just finished talking about, we have Rings of Power.
Yes, we do.
Which is very, very exciting. That comes out obviously on the 29th.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what we'll do is we'll go through all these, then we'll talk about what we're most excited for, what we're least excited for, and what's maybe our dark horse.
Okay.
Next up, we've got the Penguin TV show, set obviously in Matt Reeves' Batman universe.
Yes.
Which comes out on the 8th of September. I'm very excited for that. I know you're very excited for that. So we'll have to wait patiently and see, but I've got good feelings. Next up, another TV show.
Yeah.
Agatha All Along, of course, on Disney Plus. That starts on September 18th.
Yes.
Finally, the continuation from WandaVision.
Yeah.
Which
How
was
many years
5
has it been?
years ago.
It's 5. God.
I believe so. So we will see. I'm very curious about this project, and not all of it is a good curious.
Yeah, we'll see.
It has an opportunity to do something well. It's been in production long enough. It has a solid cast. I'm not sure it's my particular cup of tea.
We could be surprised.
Next up, we have another TV show. This is an animated show.
Yep.
The Legend of Vox Machina. Of course, the animated TV show based on the Critical Role live action D&D campaign of the same name. This is season 3.
Yep, season 3.
This starts on the 3rd of October.
Yes.
We are both incredibly excited for this.
Oh yeah.
Well, let's put it this way. Let's be clear. We are in the process of trying to organise a D&D one shot for us and friends.
I am slowing things down.
I mean, you won't be the only one that ends up slowing things down.
I know.
But I would be very happy in saying I have been probably the loudest champion of this little let's play D&D. And it all kind of started from this show. It was, this show's really cool. I see how the natural things that will happen while playing a game where anything can happen creates better storytelling. So this story is going to feel more unique, and you're going to have weird moments, and that makes it more interesting.
Yeah.
And then from that, there was Baldur's Gate 3.
Yes.
Which really kicked it off because I understood the game mechanics a bit more. And now I've got Dropout that has D20, which is phenomenal.
Don't forget the D&D film as well that we watched.
Yeah, the Dungeons and Dragons film, again, in love with that. Hollywood, greenlight more of them.
Yeah.
So, this is probably the most excited I've been for a piece of D&D related media. Because this is the height of my obsession with D&D currently.
Yeah.
So I'm in the perfect mindset for this.
I feel like I remember when this season 1 was coming out. Was it? No, season 2 was coming out, and I recommended you went and watched season 1.
Yeah.
To which you then really enjoyed, and we obviously you went in with very surface level understanding of what D&D was.
Yeah. But the beauty of Vox Machina is you don't need to understand what D&D is at all.
No, you don't. It's as long as you like fantasy, you can enjoy it. It's an animated fantasy TV series. The bonus is the fans that have watched Critical Role get to be like, oh, I remember that moment when I watched it.
But even people who haven't watched Critical Role, but people who have played D&D or understand D&D, will see moments from the show, and they're like, oh, that person buffed that they've rolled horrifically.
Oh, that's that ability.
That was or that was an amazing roll right there. What a goated decision.
So, but also the fact that you've now been watching Dropout and you have a much stronger understanding of the mechanics of the game, it'll be interesting to see you getting to watch this time.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited.
The fun part,
the story's phenomenal.
Yeah, the fun part for me is trying to remember where we ended. I might have to go back and watch a recap because I
We
like
ended
trying
with
to remember
the halfling paladin.
Pike.
Yeah, getting stabbed by Grog because the sword had been corrupting his mind.
Oh yeah.
That's the last thing I remember.
Yes.
And that was right
Yes.
near the
The
end. It was either the
Craven's
second to last episode.
Edge.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, and we'd had Vax make a pact.
Yes. No one's
Quietly.
aware of that yet, I don't believe.
No. So yeah, this next season, I'm trying to. There's such a funny moment. All I'll say is it's from Keyleth's character, but I can't remember where it happened. If it might be later down the story, but there's like what is an iconic funny moment from her in like the live action game that I can't wait for them to animate. But yeah, I'm looking forward to season 3 of this.
Yeah, so am I. And then I've just realised the day after the first episode of The Legend of Vox Machina, we get our first film of the second half of the year, our only film of the second half.
Yeah, I was gonna say the last film that we're super interested in for the podcast at least.
Joker Folie.
Yes.
4th of October. We both really enjoyed the first Joker film.
Mm-hmm.
It did definitely get kind of. This is the wrong word, but I'm going to say it anyway. Culturally appropriated by weirdos.
I get what you mean.
It got turned into a little bit of an edgelord weirdo anthem instead of just being allowed to be a good film.
Yeah,
Joaquin Phoenix has had some not great press over the last few weeks, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I'm excited for the film. I have got my shout right now is that Lady Gaga is going to blow people away with her performance in this film. I've got such a good feeling about Lady Gaga in this film.
So do I, and I think she's gonna for this film and the style of this film. I think she's gonna play Harley Quinn like superbly.
Very, very confident about that casting.
Something I want to do is go back and watch the first one again because it's been so long since I've seen the first one.
Again, that was 2019, or maybe even earlier.
I did see though this week that the director said there is no plans for a third one. They are more than happy with what they needed to tell story wise in these first two. They don't want to do.
I'm going to be,
which I'm glad about actually.
That kind of comes alongside James Gunn saying it has to be really, really worth it to get an Elseworlds budget because of the risk of confusing people. I think them two comments are not unlinked.
Yeah, I get you.
They're not separate comments.
I think unless they had a really solid want to have done a third one already, story-wise, I think them just going, oh, this was successful, maybe we should make a third one. James Gunn's like, you need to give me a solid reason. So, I think that's a good thing.
And also being like co-CEO of DC, it's actually there's not that many people who can put pressure on him to greenlight a third one. Then a show that a lot of people have been quite negative about recently, I'm over the moon excited for. Another animated show, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, coming on the 2nd of November.
Yes, finally. I feel like we've been waiting for this for a while.
Yes, we finally got some actual official looks at the animation style.
Yes, we did.
I get why people are a little bit apprehensive about the animation style.
No,
I personally think it kicks ass.
Yeah, it's not necessarily my like favorite ever animation style. I don't hate it though, and I'm all for it's animated. Like animated, we've said it with Spider-Verse, we said it with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Have fun and be creative with it, rather than the cookie cutter Pixar look to everything. Like I'm all in.
It's a unique style you're not getting from another animated TV show right now.
And also, like they are going for like the vision. From what we've seen of the visuals, it's quite clear. Like, how can we make this feel basically like a comic book panels being animated? And
and
I'm
even
down
some
with
like
that.
even some of like the framing in some of the bits we've seen give a comic book the way they cut from one angle to another.
Some of the transitions and the way they cut frames and stuff is like quite clearly they're trying to be like, look, here's a comic book page. What happens if we were to animate the panels and like this actual page was just animated? And I'm all for them going with that style. I think it's something different.
Try something new.
Yeah.
Star Wars TV show.
Yes, finally some more Star Wars.
Scary time to be a Star Wars TV show, but we'll get into that later. Skeleton Crew comes on the 3rd of December. And I know we are both very excited for this.
We are. And I have found out a bit more context on, because I think when we last talked about this was with the D23 stuff.
Yeah.
And we weren't sure when it takes place or what. So this is during Mando timeline.
Got ya. Just after the fall of the Empire.
Yeah, so after the fall of Empire, I would imagine it is actually similar time to Mando, where you've got all the new Senate and stuff. The main giveaway that people had noticed was, I think it's been stated as it is that timeline, but in the trailer there is some pirate ships that have very similar painting scheme to the pirate ship that was in Mando. You know, the one that was over the top of with the seaweed boy. So there, obviously, people are immediately linking it to that, which is fine. It gives context to when it was.
Yeah.
But also,
we don't know a whole lot about this show in the best way, though, which is kind of refreshing.
I think my only hope is they don't try and link it too hard to like Mando or anything. Like, I'm fine with someone we've seen in a previous thing that is like a very background character shows up in this as another background character. You're like, oh, okay, it's linked. If they try to be like some main character gets pulled in, I'll be like, oh, come on, you didn't need. If it's done in a way that's like, oh, you're just doing that to tie it to Mando, not doing it so it makes sense.
Who's our pirate friend from Clone Wars and Rebels?
Oh, Hondu.
Yeah. He's the kind of character who I'd be okay with coming up. If there's already a bit of a theme of pirates going on, a reference to him or seeing him isn't a problem.
He should be still alive because we had Cad Bane, who was a lot older.
Rebels.
Yeah,
but
so
he was in Rebels towards the end of it anyway.
Hondu should be still about. He might be old, so whether he's still involved with these, I don't know. But potential with pirates and stuff, yeah, there is a potential for
it. Next up, something that we didn't even know existed until literally 3 days ago.
Yeah.
And we're already incredibly excited for.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it a bit more in the news, but we'll give a little rundown now. Secret Level, the new show from the makers of Love, Death and Robots,
which is incredible,
which was so good. Are doing a new anthology series on Prime Video, centered around video games. And they've got some big IPs to sign off.
So here's the thing. I don't know how much you know about the creators of Love, Death and Robots.
I don't know much.
Or the studio, the studio behind the idea of that. So I think it was a Corridor Digital. They had the guy on. They were going over the Love, Death and Robots ones and talk about stuff. So them as a studio kind of got their like name for themselves by doing cinematics for games.
Oh, so they've probably got a good relationship with these companies,
with some of the big studios. So like that's what they love doing that, and that's why where Love, Death and Robots sort of came from, because there's these studios that do this stuff, and they had that, and then they had this idea of like, oh look, we know this studio that has this really cool, unique style, or they're really good at doing this sort of like facial animation stuff. We'll give them this story. That's where Love, Death and Robots came from. They're like basically like, you're a studio we know and we're friends with. We love what you get to do. Here's this episode. You go have fun with it. Now, the fact that like you could tell when it got announced and the creator was on stage for a Gamescom, he was very like emotional about this project.
Yes.
Clearly a passion project. And yeah, there's some big names. You've got Warhammer 40K's in there.
Yeah.
God of War's in there.
God of War, Dungeons and Dragons,
yeah, Dungeons and Dragons,
Mega Man,
Armored Core is one as well.
Sifu.
Bunch of different games. I think there's 15 episodes in total. As far as I'm aware, each episode will be a different game, or maybe it'll be a couple of episodes per game. I'm not sure.
Very cool looking though.
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Especially as soon as they showed Warhammer 40k, I was like, ooh.
Well, like some of them like made so much sense instantly, like Warhammer 40k, Mega Man, D&D. I'm like, I absolutely see that. Seeing Sifu was like, ooh, I like that. That's a rogue shout.
There's also New World was one, which
was it?
Yeah, which
I mean that's owned by Amazon, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's Amazon Game Studio. So I was like, as soon as I saw New World, I was like, oh, it's on Prime. Oh, they're okay. But that'll be interesting because that's like...
Again, because that's not a game that has a crazy amount of lore there. So they have a fair bit of freedom.
Not established yet, no.
Yeah. So yeah, very, very cool. I hope this does well enough to make other studios go, oh, do this for my world, please. That looks fun.
I hope it's as successful as like Love, Death and Robots has been. So there's at least we get a couple of seasons of it.
Yeah. Very cool concept.
For sure.
And the last thing we're expecting this year, even though we don't have a lockdown date for it yet, is Creature Commandos.
Yes, we know it's coming out December, or at least that's the latest knowledge is December, end of the year.
But that's all we know so far. The animated project coming from James Gunn's brand new DCU, the first official project of the DCU.
It is. Which I love that they're kind of launching with an animated show, I'll be honest.
Yeah. So for those who aren't keenly aware, James Gunn's kind of tenets for the DCU are actors are going to act as their characters across all mediums. Video game, voice acting, animated projects, and film and TV. He wants to cast an actor and they play that actor. They play that character across all of the mediums.
Yeah.
So we're starting off with Creature Commandos, which is a subdivision of the Task Force X program.
Yes.
So they are the Suicide Squad, but they're all undead creatures. We've got Frankenstein, we've got Weevil, we've got a bunch of characters.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. It looks like it should be fun.
Oh yeah, it looks like it'll be just a fun animated show.
And it'll be our first kind of taste of the DCU, which is always a bit exciting.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can sort themselves out and make it as easy as possible to watch DC TV ASAP.
Yeah. Hopefully.
But yeah, what's that? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 projects still between now and the end of the year.
Yeah.
And all but one of them are TV shows. So it's going to be busy, folks. So make sure you hit that
4 are TV and 4 are animated as well.
Yeah, as well. We've had a really good year for animation.
Yeah.
So make sure you get subscribed, ring that bell so that you don't miss any of it when we're breaking it down.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, really cool year coming up.
Oh, yeah. Good end to the year.